so saturated with like iPhones, Androids,
Mm-hmm.
tablets, whatever you want to call it. And the idea of just sitting in quiet and watching people, I'm not saying they wouldn't know how to do it. It would just make them crazy.
I wasn't actually going to start here, but as you mentioned it, that is very curious. The name, the Front Porch Conservative, coming from your uncle. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
My uncle worked all of his life. He was my mother's brother. And toward the end of his life, because of various health problems, he more or less became something of a shut-in. And if you know anything about people from my home state of West Virginia, Mountain Mama, we will never let anyone starve. If we have to take them food, we'll do it. And what would happen was on the weekends, my mom worked at a local hospital and we'd have breakfast together. I'd get a styrofoam tray full of food, take it over to my uncle, and we'd sit around and we'd shoot the breeze. And he would drop these little pearls of what I call country wisdom, which even though you live in cities in West Virginia, let's just be honest, everybody from one point or another comes from the country. And exactly, he would always say to me, never, never, never turn on your TV or go to the movies if you wish to be entertained. He said, just go sit on your front porch. He said, because what you see walking down the street or driving by in a car will make you laugh, cry, or both. And you know what? The older I get, the more I believe him because, these days it's kind of like that old line from a Don Henley song. The more I know, the less I understand.
I understand more than you'll never know.
Oof. Yep.
Yeah. And I look around and go, oh, we are definitely not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. No.
Yeah, and I think that is a real wisdom. The fact that I mean, if you think just a few years ago, like the notion of people watching was a thing, and I think that's completely just disappeared from our lexicon, from the zeitgeist. I don't think kids really know what people watching is.
People watching.
Because there's always some kind of stimulation. There's always something going on. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the notion of what your uncle was saying is that the world is plenty entertaining, exciting, whatever you want to call it. And it's up to you to look out and see that and notice it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my uncle could find the most humor in the strangest little thing. I mean, and you're absolutely right. The generations that, we find ourselves associated with now are so saturated with like iPhones, Androids, tablets, whatever you want to call it. And the idea of just sitting in quiet and watching people, I'm not saying they wouldn't know how to do it. It would just make them crazy because they got to be looking at the screen. They got to be looking at something. They got to be, stimulated by some piece of electronic whatever. And it would just drive them crazy. Just sit on a bench at the park and watch people. They wouldn't know how to do it. It'd just be absolutely crazy for them.
I need more mental stimulation.
I remember my uncle was talking to his son, so my cousin, and just could not understand the notion that, back in the day, and I mean, I guess I'm 34, so I'm a little young for this, but he's like, back in the day, you'd just make plans with people and you'd show up and just hope that they showed up too. And if they didn't, that's it. That's it. And, just texting, oh, I'm 5 minutes away, I'm 10 minutes away. It's definitely a convenience, but it's not the way things always were. And if they were running a little late, then again, you'd be either people watching or like M169, the Sunday drives. Just take a drive, just go chill and see what is out there.
Absolutely.
And it's not that you're going to find some amazing flashing thing that's going to be like, oh my God, I've never seen this. But it's the banality that the minutia that you miss out on while you're looking for all those things. So I definitely want to start with a dilly dilly to your uncle.
Dilly dilly.
For that Southern wisdom. Yeah. Shout out to Bon Zig, the art of chilling, chillaxing. People don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think that has done to society? What do you think that lack of ability? How is that manifested in what we see?
I don't think we take the time to appreciate being still and just thinking.
Mm.
We've so got to have the next new thing, or make ourselves available to the next new thing, and be, it's like going to a perpetual 24-hour rave.
Yep.
Where, everybody's dancing, you got electronic music, you got the light show, you got the smoke and everything else, and nobody can just sit there and just calmly, just in the quiet, think, or contemplation.
Yeah,
There's something else that's lost these days, the ability to
absolutely.
just sit and think quietly to yourself. And, I'll also argue that, I think you and I touched on this when you were on my channel, is that we've lost the ability to just be able to communicate with other people.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Right.
We're losing a sense of community. Whereas back in the old days, I mean, one of the things I love about the neighborhood that I live in is most of the people who live here have lived on my street for going on 20, 30, 40 years. And every spring and every fall, they will do a block party. They'll block off both ends of the street. Everybody brings some form of food. We all get together at a certain spot. We set up tables. We set up everything else. And we all just hang out, eat food, drink adult beverages if somebody feels like doing it. And we just otherwise just talk to each other and say, hey, man, what's going on? Yeah, I see you driving in and out of your driveway, but I hardly ever get to talk to you, man. What's going on? And we all know each other. We hang out together. We will occasionally barbecue in each other's backyards. It's nice.
Yeah, and it's not only that was enough, but that was awesome. That was those were the good old days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ML69 saying it sounds like her neighborhood. I think it sounds like a lot of our neighborhoods, and that's the point, is that this isn't some pocket of America that was there, and it was a special type of life. That was American life, and now you might have to go to some pocket where maybe they don't have good internet or something in order to find that, because even people like us who want to, who like that, who want that type of society, we're talking on the internet right now. We're sitting in front of screens and everything right now, and so it's changed life so dramatically that it's frustrating that there is simultaneously a desire to kind of move back to simpler times, while also looking forward and being forced to prepare whatever is coming down the pipe.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just like I said, just the simple, say hello to your neighbor as they walk out their front door.
Howdy, neighbor.
That's almost lost anymore. It really is. And it's sad. I saw something the other day at a gas station, and it's a national chain, or at least semi-national. They're very big on the East Coast. And I was filling up my gas tank, and it's a modern gas station with electronic signage. Okay, fine. And it said, please remember to lock up your car while filling up with gas. And I thought to myself, now just how sad a state is this, that I'm going to be out of my car for 4 minutes, standing beside my car, pumping gas, and you're telling me I have to lock, you're recommending that I lock my car door. I'm like, this is sad. Absolutely sad. You know.
I completely agree. And, I mean, luckily in Jersey, we don't have that problem, because you just roll up, they got full service.
Afternoon, fill her up, please.
I was just watching some TikTok where a girl pranked her mom by, kind of noticing the same thing, and pranked her mom, and, it was a lighthearted thing, but, saw her at the gas station, pulled up quietly, hopped in her car, and, had her on a camera. Mom gets in the car, and she's like, oh my God. And it's like, it's kind of funny, but it kind of shows like a glaring vulnerability that we never would have had to think about in the past. And now it's like every single thing you have to be so on guard. There's a new like phone scam where they'll use use AI and stuff, where they can spoof your voice and your number. And especially if you have kids out there, if you're, a Gen X boomer up there, pay attention, because what they'll do is they'll call like your parent or your aunt or whoever, and they'll use technology that has your voice. So it'll be like me calling my dad saying, "Dad, I'm in trouble. I need money. Send it to me now." Da, 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 da. And they're good and they get people. There's still the terrible, Prince of Azkaban, whatever scams, but they are getting way, way better. And this idea of community, when you don't care about it, it crumbles from the top down.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely it will. I mean, we get so busy in our lives trying to make ends meet. I do a live stream on the weekends, and as with every live streamer in one form or another, you're doing some form of an intro to introduce your show and tell your people what it's about. Well, mine is, hey, you've spent all week trying to make money, trying to keep your kids happy, keep your spouse happy, keep your significant other happy. You're trying to keep your boss happy. You're trying to keep your friends happy. You're trying to keep your in-laws and outlaws happy. Dadgone it, you need one period of the day when you just need to unwind.
It's me time.
And I stopped and thought about that after I got off my live stream one day. I thought, that is so true. And it doesn't, and being that busy does not afford anybody the opportunity to find out, hey, what's going on with my neighbor? What's going on with that person across the street? What's going on with one of my relatives? What's going on with my sister, my brother? What's going on with their kids? What's going on with my mom and dad?
Yeah.
We spend so much time chasing whatever supposedly is the American dream that we're just killing ourselves. And it's like, you argue it's top down. I argue it'll crumble from the bottom up.
Either way, it's all going to shit.
What'll happen is the foundations will just start to crumble from neglect, and it starts falling apart.
Yeah,
you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of that in cities across the country right now for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, and just kind of on that last thing with the the fake phone call. This is exactly what you should do. Have a code word with your family, so with your bank as well, because they can spoof your bank and they'll say they're from the FBI, whoever it is. If somebody calls you and said, "I need money," number one is hang up and call the person back, whether it's your parent or the bank. Because then they'll be like, "What are you talking about? We didn't call it." Or if it's something where they're like, "We have your son here, and we're gonna," then what's the code word? No code, no money. Well said. Shout out to Dietrich's. Welcome to the party. But yeah, man, I think either way, we talk so much about these values that it almost seems cliche. That family, community, tradition, ritual, all this kind of stuff. It almost seems cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, tradition is one of those things. People, you say the word tradition to the wrong generation. Now they're like, "Oh my god." Say it to another generation, and it's like, yeah, there's reasons why you do things the way you do them. You establish certain patterns so that everyone knows what to expect. For example, the State of the Union address, which we'll get into at some point. Yeah, I don't ever want to hear another person from the left or a Democrat ever say to me again, so-and-so is destroying the political norms of this nation. After what I watched the other night, I don't ever want to hear anybody say that to me again.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.